Hi guys, welcome back to the Endurance podcast. We've got a team here as always, and really pleased to have Tommy Giacomel here, who's a biathlete and an endurance athlete. I guess biathlon's a little bit of a difficult one for me. We don't really have winter sports in the UK, but I first became aware of it back in, I think, the 2002 Winter Olympics. I was in France and it was on the TV a lot then. And it's actually really interesting to watch. For those who don't know, it's a combination of endurance sport with very intense cross-country skiing, but then target shooting as intermittent as part of that. Maybe Tommy, you can explain it in a little bit more detail than my very layperson's view of it.
Yeah, biathlon is a really like a tricky sport, because it combines two sports that don't have anything to do with each other, like the calm that you need for shooting and the strength that you need for skiing. So it's pretty tricky, and we need to find a good balance between these two components that are building up our performance. So it's not any easy to deliver always a good race, because there are a lot of factors that can influence our performance. It's not like in cross-country skiing where you just need to be fit and push like hell on your skis and poles, but you also need to have a clear mind and be smart on the shooting range. And we have quite a lot of different races, lengths and times that we are approaching the shooting range, because some races we are shooting 2 times, some races we are going to shoot 4, and in some races in the relays we have also the spare shots. And putting a bullet in the barrel when it's cold, it's not easy. So it's pretty difficult, but it's fascinating.
Have you always been a biathlete, or have you started with cross-country skiing only?
I started with cross-country skiing because my father was a professional cross-country skier, and he was also really strong. He raced also in the World Cup and got a 3rd place in the Marcia Longa. It's like a really famous race of the now it's called the Visma Ski Classics, and it contains the longer races, not World Cup races, but it's another circuit. It contains like races like Vasalopet and Diagonela and those races, and he got 3rd place the year when I was born in 2000. And he already had 2 childs at home, so he decided to retire and to make the dad job. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I started biathlon later, when I was 13, 14 years old, and I had the opportunity to go to a sports school in South Tyrol, where I met super good coaches and friends. I began with cross-country skiing. I already did a bit of biathlon before, but I started this school with a cross-country skiing group. But the first year I trained with both groups, so maybe 3 times the week I went with the cross-country skiers and 2 times with the biathletes. And after the first class, I decided to shift my career to biathlon, because I liked more the sport, and the coaches and also the friends were pretty cool. And it was so far it was the right decision.
Yeah, and I guess kind of physiology and nutrition wise, it's really quite interesting, because you've got those short, intense races. And as you say, you've got to go from being super hyped up to ski as fast as you can, and then instantly calm yourself down and become really focused for the shooting. And the worse you are at shooting, the more you have to do like penalty rounds, don't you?
Yeah.
The fatigue gets worse and worse, and the shooting will get worse and worse. And yeah, it's a tough sport.
Yeah, we are used to shoot around the threshold intensity or even higher, because in races like the pursuit or a mass start, we race all against each other. It's not a race like a time trial against the clock, but we find other athletes on the slope. So if you have one strong athlete in front of you, you just want to keep up with him. And maybe you're not coming to the shooting range in your comfort zone.
Yeah. And
then you might have more difficulties with the shooting. But we are training around 840, 50 physical hours every year. Our training year starts the 1st of May and ends in the end of March. So we train a lot physically, but we also need a lot of hours to train our shooting. And when we stand on the shooting range, we are not counting it in the physical training. So when we come to the mat, we stop our watches. Yeah.
So you train shooting and the physical side of things separately normally, or do you do it in the same?
The beginning of the preparation, we used to train separately. So the days are endless because we are going to the shooting range and it takes us, 2 hours or even more to put a lot of quality in the shooting, because we're shooting like 15,000 shots every year. And in May and until the middle of June, we are just shooting, and then we make the physical part. And then the two roads, that shooting and physical training, are going together. And then we start to build up the biathlon performance. Yeah.
Interesting. How do you train in the summer?
I think Andrea could explain it, so he can talk a bit, because he is the coach.
I think they are very lucky because we are going to use a lot of different sport for training to build up our base, most of all during the summer, in the first part of the spring, because we are going to use the bike, we are going to run, we are going to use the roller skis that are our summer skis with the wheels. And during the season, the training is going to be more and more specific. So when we are going to do intensity training during the last part of the summer or the fall, we are going to use almost only specific training, so roller skis. And generally we move then to Scandinavia at the beginning of November, when normal condition we can find some snow and begin to skis. So during summer, generally we have a long period where we are going to build our base, as I said, and we are going to train about 30 hours per week, and for 3 weeks, and then we are going to recover for 1. And from the beginning of June, we are going to put in some more intensity training, following a pyramidal way to build the training process. And after that, we have a first block of intensity during August, and another one we are going to have during October. And after that, we try to be ready for the competition that begin at the finish of November.
Interesting. And it's always like evergreen topic, a polarized approach to training. What's your take on this?
I think that as I read a lot, and we have found a good way to manage the intensity and volume using a pyramidal model during the first month of preparation and switching to the block periodization after. And during September and October, we are going to retake a base period after the block of high intensity. We have 1 week of transition with very slow and very less training. After that, we move again to volume, and then again to
a big volume,
and then again to a block. So for the first 3 months, we use the pyramidal, and after we are switching to a kind of block periodization.
Cool.
And then we try to put all together during November and find the best way to be fit for the competition.
And how long is the competition period? Is just, well, the European winter, I guess, obviously, but you don't travel to the other side of the world much in the off season to do any competitions or anything like that?
Next year we're going to Utah and Canmore, also Canada, to race. So there is always a lot of snow.
Right.
But yeah, the season is short because there are only 4 months, but it's also long because in around 4 months we have like an athlete that makes every race, that manages to qualify for every pursuit, for every mass start, and races every relay. We race around 40 races.
Right.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, very intense. Yeah.
Yeah. Last year I made 39 races.
Right.
Yeah.
And
on the same weekend, you'll do lots of different types of races then as well. Yeah.
We always make the first block is 4 weeks, so around 11 races in December. Then last year I had the opportunity to make a show race in the Christmas break. Then we have 3 weeks of races in January. There are 9 races there. Then in February we have World Championships or Olympic Games, and then yeah, this February I raced the 7 races in 11 or 12 days, 11 days, and then we have the last block of races in March, and there are again 9 races.
Wow, that's a lot of training and intensity in short period of time.
In winter, we basically don't have time to train at all. We just have to race and recover. We just make a easy intensity training the day before the race, just to be fit for a race and not coming into a race with a sleeping mood. But it's not training compared to the training that we are doing now.
So how do you recover after like races? Like, do you use some recovery strategies? I don't know, some compression things or massages or anything special?
We always have the physiotherapist with us on the tour, also during the summer. So we have every day the opportunity to go to the physiotherapist. I think it's much better that the physiotherapist touches our legs and not the compression methods, because hands are better. And then I used to I love to drink Coca-Cola. I drink a lot of Coca-Cola, and I used to drink it after a race and eating Haribo.
Because Jakov Fak, the Slovenian biathlete, he's known to be sick very often. And I always like wondered why this is happening. But then like seeing and hearing how much of an intensity this actually is, like it doesn't surprise me too much. So do you like also like get sick during the winter, or very rarely?
Never. This year was really lucky. I never had even a sore throat or nothing. I was really fit during the winter. But the week after races, I don't know if just all the stress came out of my body, and then I woke up a morning and I was dead, tired, and I was sweating all the night. And I was then 1 week sick. But in the winter, I'm never sick. Fortunately.
Interesting.
You got the timing right with that then. And you had quite a successful winter this winter, didn't you? Was it your most successful yet with medals at the World Championships?
Yeah. My first podium, a lot of top 10s. And in the biathlon of today, it's not easy because the level is insane. Like we have one Norwegian guy that is dominating and writing history of biathlon. It's like in road cycling. There are super strong guys like Primož Roglič, Mathieu van der Poel, Tadej Pogačar. And the Norwegian team is the strongest ever. I remember in January where I in a pursuit, I got top 5, and the Norwegian team gets six spots for every race. I got 5th place, and the worst Norwegian got 7th place. There was just a Frenchman, me, a Frenchman, and then all the Norwegian team.
So is there something that is special they're doing? Do they have a special potion, special nutrition product? Better skis?
I don't know. Big engines.
Big engines, surely, and a different culture, I think, because Norwegians are not new to be strong in the whole sports system. From light athletic to cycling to Nordic sport to alpine skiing, everywhere they are coming stronger and stronger. And I think the best soccer player now is Norwegian as well. So I think they have something different from the others. But I think it's just coming from the culture and the approach they have to life and sport living together. By my side,
yeah.
Cool. I always wonder, do you get cold in races?
Yes. Yeah, because our racing suits are pretty thin. And I remember in Sweden where I got my first World Cup podium, we were racing in the late afternoon. So I was done with my race at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So the sun was already low. And it was super cold, like -15. And I knew I was on 2nd place, but after the race, I just couldn't keep the phone in my hand because I was just freezing. But maybe.
And like you said, you have to load bullets into the rifle in those conditions as well. So it's I guess another big factor.
Yeah. Also, our hand shoes has to be pretty thin. Otherwise, we don't have any sensibility on the trigger if they are too fat. Fat is warm, but no way to have control on the trigger.
And it's quite the same for the chute. You don't have too much layer under the chute because you cannot move in the best way. And our chute, it's like I think it's lighter than a winter clothes for cycling.
Right.
Generally, we have a base layer under, but not more. And especially in the upper part. Generally, athletes didn't use base layer on the legs.
Never.
Maybe women much more, but the men not so much. and in the upper part they use it. But we compete until almost minus 18 degrees. When we were in China for the Olympics, I think it was colder.
Wow.
Because there was the wind as well, so it was not so fun.
Yeah.
Tim doesn't go outside to train if it's less than 15 degrees, so he would never go.
Yeah, but
Plus 15, obviously.
That's not true.
We also can't race when it's too cold because our rifles are not working anymore. If it's cold, the shots are not leaving the barrel.
Right.
And it's of course it's also dangerous for the athletes. It's not healthy.
Are the clothes designed for, I don't know, what's the sort of top speed you reach? Are they designed to be aerodynamic as well? Obviously, that's a huge thing in cycling when you're going along at 50 kilometers per hour. But you mentioned there are thin, light fabrics. Is that just for the dexterity, or is it for aerodynamics as well?
No, I knew not so much.
One of the most important part regarding speed for us is the preparation of the skis. The choice and the preparation, because they have almost 30 pairs of skis, different for any different kind of snow, humidity, consistent for snow, different grinds. And after that, we have a lot of product, a lot of wax that our wax technicians could put on and put off from the skis. And I think this is the most important part about speed. After that, surely Tommy has to cut his hair, because if he wants to be more aerodynamic, he cannot compete with this one.
Make the most of it while you've got some.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Another kind of interesting thing I find is, obviously we mentioned earlier the fatigue plays maybe a big role to it as you're shooting, you're skiing, and if you make a mistake, you have to do more runs. Have you got any tips to kind of maintain focus? Obviously, it's super important for you guys, but for a cyclist who fatigues during the end of the race, they're more likely to make mistakes and crash. Or in any sport, really, you're more likely to make a mistake as you fatigue. Is there anything you think that would be useful for other sports that you could share with us?
I don't know.
I think they have to be focused on his performance and not on the result. If you think about hit the target, it's not
you will miss.
You will miss
for sure.
You have to be focused on your work, on your preparation, on the coordination you have to follow to be much more perfect on the performance. So using an approach following the performance and not the results. This is the way we try to teach them and to share with them about approaching the shooting range. Surely it's not easy when you have your there are other athletes close to you, start shooting earlier than you. It's not easy when the stand are full of people cheering for you or not, or cheering for the others. So this is the way. Try to be focused on your work and not on the result.
Yeah, shooting is more a mental game. It's also really technique, but we have a routine. We repeat this routine thousands of times.
Yeah,
and we are we are racing the World Cup. That means we are pretty good, and we are. I would be lying if I say I can shoot every time 0, but we are good enough to shoot good, pretty good, because in a race, if you manage to shoot 90%, in a sprint, if you miss one, out of 10, you should 90%, and that's pretty good. But in a men biathlon, it's today not enough. So we just have to be ice cold because it's a mental game. When you are standing with other athletes next to you, you hear that they are shooting, and you already hear if they miss or if they hit the target. But maybe sometimes when you are fully in your flow, like you have 1 meter of earth around you, and it happened to me sometimes this winter where I was so focused and into this flow that I didn't hear even 30,000 people screaming behind my back. So you just live in your round.
You're just fully focused on that and nothing else.
Yeah,
you're not even aware. Yeah,
that doesn't happen every time, but sometimes it happens, and that's strange if you think about it after a race. But you say, "Well, that was cool."
Yeah.
So you then also like work on this psychological preparation, not just like physical.
Yeah, because in the summer the coaches are trying to stress us as much as possible during the shooting sessions, because, as I said, we are pretty good, and if we make every time the same thing, it becomes boring. It becomes a boring routine, and that's not because shooting is fun. But sometimes they stress us too much. I say too much, but and then we are completely worn out mentally. Sometimes during a summer I shoot so bad that I just start to cry in front of the coaches because I am completely my head is completely done. Yeah.
Wow. And sometimes you have to stop then when they are shooting so bad and not continue working on a mistake or something that is not working as it has to be. So it's better to take the rifle away and go for the physical training for that session and retake it the next days or in the afternoon as we want, but not to continue to be there. And when you are hitting your head in front of a wall, it's not easy. And as he said, sometimes happened, and they, first of all, when the coaches as well, has to be good to go over these hurdles.
Well, interesting. Yeah, that was really like exciting to hear about biathlon because I love cross country skiing in Slovenia, although the winters are getting worse and worse, and I spend more and more time in the UK where like we don't have any snow pretty much. And when there is like 5 centimeters of snow, basically everything is shut, like schools are closed, universities are closed, shops are closed. So
yeah, we don't do proper winter here. It just doesn't happen.
So thanks a lot for taking the time to speak to us. And it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, really good to find out more about a sport that I was a little bit aware of and find quite interesting. But obviously, you don't learn from watching on TV. As it's been great to have an in-depth chat about it and learn about all the techniques that you use.
I think biathlon is becoming more and more popular because it's every race is a show for spectators, and it's you always have the shooting that can change the race a lot. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks a lot, and good luck in your next season.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your summer's training and onto the winter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.